Bienvenidos una vez más a Puro Pinche Gol. This is the podcast where we discuss all things Selección Mexicana y la bendita Liga MX. If this is your first time with us, my name is Adrian Cruz, and today we're doing a preview of the upcoming matches between Mexico and Switzerland and Mexico against Turkey. So those are the two matches that Mexico will be having prior this year's Gold Cup as preparation for that specific tournament. As you may know, El Vasco Aguirre dropped a 60-man roster a few days ago, and yes, we missed doing a reactions video to that list, but we thought about it and we just felt that the 23-man roster was going to come up really quickly, so it was going to be very cumbersome to say the least to make a list and give to make a reaction video and give your thoughts on, do we think it was a good idea to call up Memo Ochoa? Who out of all these players will make the cut? At that time, we didn't know if America was gonna make its way to the Club World Cup, so we would have given you, hey, do you think that America players should play with America and disregard Mexico? But that's not going to happen because America didn't make it to the Club World Cup. Call it divine intersection, divine intervention, sorry, or whatever you may. But we just didn't feel the need to make a 60-man roster. Nonetheless, today is Monday, June 2nd. The list, the 23-man roster list, is expected to be handed over from Mexico to the CONCACAF for the Gold Cup on June 4th. So tomorrow, when we publish this episode, which is June 3rd, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have access to a bunch of leaks from different pundits like David Medrano, even someone from TUDN and whatnot, that will tell us exactly, or 90% with a 90% accuracy, who will be part of that 23-man roster that El Vasco Aguirre will take to make the attempt and win the doblete of the region, which is Nations League and Gold Cup. So when that happens, yes, you will see a 23-man roster reaction from us. And yeah, but until then, let's discuss the upcoming matches. The first one being Mexico versus Switzerland. They are playing on Saturday, June 7th in Salt Lake City at 2 p.m. local time. Local time of Salt Lake City, not local time of where you are, but local time of Salt Lake City. This upcoming match will be the seventh time they face each other, with Switzerland having the edge over Mexico with 4 wins to Switzerland, 1 win for Mexico, and 1 draw. The last time they saw each other, that was a long time ago, man. I had 1 year of age. That was back in 1994, and Mexico lost terribly 5-0 against Switzerland. I would say back in the day, Switzerland. Listen, I'm not an expert on Swiss football, but I'm gonna say that Switzerland was maybe significantly better than Mexico. This time around, I think it's more level. I think the playing field has pretty much established as a very good baseline between these two teams. Because if we take all things in consideration, Switzerland arrives to this match as the 20th ranked team in the FIFA rankings, just one step behind of Mexico, which is ranked 19th in the world by FIFA. So that's why I think it's going to be a very even match. In addition to also understanding that the Swiss team, this is not the Swiss team of maybe 4 or 8 years ago, where you had Granit Xhaka and Sheldon Shaqiri at the top of their game. You also had Ricardo Rodriguez at the top of his game, which he's still getting called up. But I believe Switzerland between 2014 and maybe 2022 or 2018, between those 8 years, Switzerland presented itself as a very competitive opposition. I think this time around, still competitive, but it's not as, I guess, concerning as it was a few years ago. Um, if we look at the rhythm and the performance of Switzerland on the last 3 matches, right? If I'm not mistaken, they lost against Spain 3-2 on the match day 6th of their Nations League. Then they tied 1-1 against Northern Ireland, and then they defeated Luxembourg 3-1 in March of this year. So the loss against Spain was last year in November, but these last 2 matches they had this year, it was a tie and a win. I think a tie against a slightly better opposition of Northern Ireland and a comfortable win against Luxembourg. Nonetheless, both teams are very, very small teams and easy wins in Europe, all things considered. So, what does it mean for Mexico? Well, it means that they're going to face off a team that comes with a good understanding of what they play and how they play, right? We're going to see Ricardo Rodriguez as perhaps the most condecorated player on that lineup because he's going to be making his, I think he's already over 100 caps. And he is perhaps the, the best player that Switzerland has as of this moment. At least the most known, if you ask me. And again, I'm not an expert on Swiss football. So if you are, and if you're watching this, please let me know in the comments if I'm completely lost on what I'm saying, or if you think there's any other player that you believe deserve to have more spotlight than Ricardo Rodriguez in Switzerland. As far as Mexico goes, listen, I think we can expect to see a similar formation as we saw on the last Nations League, which let me check real quick here. Um, which one was it? 'Cause I cannot recall if it was a 4-2-3-1 or if it was a 4-2-4. Let me check real quick here. Just 1 second. All right. On the last match, yes, it was technically a 4-4-2 or 4-2-4, whatever you want to call it. Two strikers, right? Four defenders and two wingers, two midfielders. I think we can expect to see not this. I don't think El Vasco Aguirre is going to be using this match and the next one to continue playing with this formation. I think he's going to try to use as many players as he can and rotate. I think we're going to see a 4-2-3-1 formation. And I think we can expect to see Raul Jimenez at the helm of that attacking side of Mexico. But I think that's what we can expect. I don't expect to see Luis Chavez making playing any minutes right now, as I think he was injured over the last couple of matches down in Russia. But hey, maybe he's recovered. We'll see. And I don't think we'll see Santiago Jimenez starting, at least not against Switzerland. Maybe against Turkey. But I can expect, as I said, as I said, I can expect Mexico to be testing new formations, making some player combinations here and there, just to. I don't think we're gonna see a lot of changes on the back line. I think most likely we're gonna see Cesar Montes, Johan Vasquez, Jesus Gallardo, and Israel Reyes as the back four. I think those are the best options as of right now, specifically on the right side with Israel Reyes, Rodrigo Huescas being, I think, named on the 60-man roster, but I don't think he's going to make it to the 23-man roster because of his legal situation in Copenhagen, where I think he needs to pass like 20 days in jail or something like that. But I don't think he's going to make it. And I don't think he's not getting called up on the 23 list because of El Vasco punishing him. I think it's just legal stuff that he needs to take care of, and he needs to do it right now. So it's just unfortunate that he made that decision to speed on a, I guess, residential area in Denmark, and now he's paying the consequences. But other than that, I think basically these matches are meant to be focused on building that chemistry and making sure that you players get into that rhythm of leaving behind the club things that they normally do on a regular basis and getting into the habit of okay playing again to the Basco system, getting used to their teammates on the pitch, and just making sure that you really, really take practice into cementing that defense line and maybe doing some quick transitions. Right, I think this will be a good challenge to test that, to test if Mexico can break from that Vasco Aguirre's well-known defensive mindset and try to make some quick breaks against a solid challenge of Switzerland. The second match will be played 3 days later on June 10th. I believe this is going to happen in the Cannon Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina at 8:30 p.m. local time. So local time of North Carolina. I was doing some research and I for sure thought that Mexico had faced Turkey at some point in time, but I was completely wrong because this is the first time they're gonna face each other in any kind of match, whether if it's friendly matches, or a FIFA official friendly match, or you name it. This is the first time they're gonna face each other. So this is very interesting and important. I think Turkey, at least for me, in my understanding, represents a or a bigger challenge than Switzerland. Um, and just because of the display that we saw last year during the Euros, right? And the different players that they have on on the pitch that are high profile, like Arda Guler, which is the first one that comes to my mind, but also Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who um, who actually has done a great job with, if I'm not mistaken, Inter de Milan, making the transition from being a central attacking midfielder to a central defensive midfielder. So he's been quite outstanding for Inter de Milan over the last couple of years, and he's definitely a force to be reckoned with at the Turkey national team. We also have Cengiz Under, who is a very dynamic winger. Again, not an expert on Turkish football, but I've seen some of these players, and I do agree. And I do think that Cengiz Under is a very interesting player to follow and will represent a very tough um, challenge for the left side of Mexico, which most likely will see Jesus Gallardo and Chino Huerta on that flank. So this will be great to see if Chino Huerta and Jesus Gallardo can continue to complement each other defensively and offensively speaking. Um, so yeah, definitely keep an eye on Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Sender Ongis, and Arda Güler because I think they're going to be playing against Mexico. From the Mexico side, I think this will be a great match to test if Edson Álvarez is ready for the challenge. Because he will be, I think he should be playing a very anchoring role on this match, trying to dominate as much as he can on this specific area of the pitch because Turkey really likes to play a lot of link plays, so he can definitely make a disruption there. Even though they are dynamic, they rely on creativeness from the likes of Saganoglu and others. So I think this will be a good challenge for Edson Alvarez to prove that he can break those lines of passes. And I think this also will be a good challenge to see if Irving El Chucky Lozano still has it, right? Um, Listen, I've been a critic of Chucky Lozano in Selección Mexicana for a while now because ever since that goal against Germany, he has pretty much been acero la izquierda, non-existent for Mexico in the matches that really matter the most. And at this point in time, even though there isn't a huge pool of talent for Mexico, I believe Irving Lozano is maybe third or fourth on the pecking order when you have Alexis Vega, when you have Chino Huerta, uh, when you have El Piojo Alvarado, right? I think those three players have had a better form and performance over the last 6 months, 12 months, if you want to call it, seeing more game time than Irvin Lozano, even though he's been playing with San Diego right now on a regular basis. So we'll see. We'll see if he still has it. We'll see if he's still up for the challenge. This will be a good match for him because uh, he will be facing also fast players. So we'll see if he still has the skill and the mindset to prove that he deserves a spot to be considered a winger in Mexico. Um, a few other things. I believe this is a good challenge because Turkey is very aggressive on the pressing and quick counterattacks. As I said, they are a very dynamic team and they like those link plays when they counterattack. And they also put a lot of pressure. Mexico crumbles, I think, under heavy pressure. That was one of the instances that we saw when they were struggling against Canada or the USMNT or Panama in this case is whenever they were getting highly pressured because Mexico in itself is not a tiki-taka team. Is more of a very pragmatic, very I guess simple mind, not simple-minded, but one mindset kind of a game where they are very solid defensively. Like they're very compact. They try to close all the lines possible from link-up plays, and maybe try to use a counter-attack. So we'll see how they behave against this high pressing and similarly a counter-attack reliant team. I believe this match as well offers a valuable opportunity for Mexico to maybe continue find ways to adapt the playing style. Right against Switzerland, we think that it will be interesting to see if they can break um, those if they can break the 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 sorry the discipline the defensive sorry if they can break the defensive block of Switzerland, which is very well organized, and see if they can make those quick breakthroughs. And against Turkey, let's see if they can adapt to that against that high pressing and adapt to, well, I am facing a squad that also counterattacks and, by the way, also presses me a lot. How can I make sure that I can make build up by keeping the ball on my side? So, yeah, those are the two matches. Listen, I'm excited. I think these are very, 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 very good instances for Mexico to test the water to see where they are against opposition that is not CONCACAF. I think these are very good matches as preparation for the Gold Cup, right? Understanding that this could be a great chance for Mexico to reassure their position as one of the toughest teams in CONCACAF, maybe not the best one, but definitely a strong contender against the USMNT and Canada. And so, yeah, I think I think this will be a two interesting matches to follow. So, yeah, listen, let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts? Do you think these are interesting matches? Do you think Mexico will win against Switzerland? I think they will tie against Switzerland 1-1 and lose against Turkey 2-1. But those are just my expectations. But let me know in the comments below if you think Mexico will go through these two matches unscathed and win both of them. Who do you think will be starting, right? Do you think we'll see Memochoa or Talarangel or Luis Malagon at the helm of these two matches? Do you think Santi Giménez should start? Edwin Lozano, you think he'll make a case for himself to be considered as a starting player for Mexico? Just drop the comment. Let me know what you think. And also correct me if I am choosing or telling players that have not that are not necessarily popular or the best ones from Switzerland or Turkey. But anyways, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.